Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including Tesla saving the EV industry, Tesla's new Giga Laboratory, Cybertruck production updates, Model 3 upgrades, and more, so let's get into it. First up today, Tesla is rumored to be planning a more than $4.5 billion factory in Spain, according to local news. Apparently that number is around $4.83 billion. According to the report translated, everything indicates that Tesla will manufacture electric vehicles in Spain. The US company is negotiating with the Generalitat Valenciana to build a car assembly plant in the metropolitan area of Valencia. Sources familiar with the operation confirmed to Cinco Dias. The Generalitat, which has signed a confidentiality agreement with the company run by Elon Musk, has refused to comment on it. As of right now, this should be taken with a grain of salt, as neither the government nor Tesla have confirmed this. But Spain is Europe's second largest car producer and is looking to attract future electric automakers. VW plans to invest 10 billion euros into building a 40 gigawatt-hour battery plant near Valencia, with production in 2026. Valencia also has a Ford plant, and they plan to make future EVs there. Tesla has Giga Berlin, but that's their only European factory, and going into the future, Tesla plans to massively scale up their affordable EV. That will be the first car they plan to make at Giga Mexico, so this very well could end up being a factory specifically to make that car in the European market. Localization is a huge part of Tesla's cost savings across all factories. Tesla has also been looking into investment in France, so these could be multiple different locations that they are weighing for another future factory. Elon has hinted that they plan to announce another new factory location on top of Giga Mexico by the end of the year, so Europe would make a lot of sense here. Overall, the most exciting thing to me is that these factories could be specifically dedicated to their smaller, more affordable EV. Tesla has teased a $25,000 EV for a long time, and when it finally arrives at scale, it will be huge for electrification as a whole. We'll see where they announce their future factory, and I'm guessing they are weighing Spain and France currently. Next up today, we have some huge news from GM. In a Twitter Spaces last week, GM announced that they would be adopting Tesla's NACS connector. A couple weeks ago, we heard that Ford would be partnering with Tesla. At the time, it was a very surprising move, especially as we've seen most brands plunge forward with CCS, but it's a welcomed one. Ford announced that their customers, starting early next year, would have access to more than 12,000 Tesla superchargers. They would achieve this with a charging adapter for their current CCS vehicles, and then in 2025, they will move to Tesla's NACS connector. Tesla's connector is smaller, more future-proofed, easier to use, and more reliable in practice, so this really makes sense for Ford. That was a big deal, but very quickly raised the question, is this going to create chaos? Ford and Tesla use the Tesla connector, but what about others? Well, GM seems to have answered that question. Even though it seemed CCS would win out, the competition of the superior charging and capability of Tesla's connector has won in this case. GM CEO Mary Barra said that GM's EVs will have access to Tesla's supercharger network starting in 2024 by utilizing a CCS to NACS adapter. Then in 2025, they will be switching their EVs to NACS connectors. Quote, GM's Barra referenced the more efficient design of Tesla's connector and the robustness of Tesla's supercharger network as reasons to adopt the standard. Mary Barra further added, our vision of the all-electric future means producing millions of world-class EVs across categories and price points, while creating an ecosystem that will accelerate mass EV adoption. This collaboration is a key part of our strategy and an important next step in quickly expanding access to fast chargers for our customers. Not only will it help make the transition to electric vehicles more seamless for our customers, but it could help move the industry toward a single North American charging standard. This is huge news. As I mentioned, it was one thing when Ford made this announcement, but the other big US automaker pushing heavily into electrification is also ditching CCS connectors for Tesla's connector in the US. For future EV buyers, this means immediate access to many more great, reliable fast chargers when traveling. It also means that those cars will have access to Tesla's network as they continue growing it, and that in turn will help fund Tesla building even more of this reliable infrastructure. On Tesla's side, they can use the extra income of these non-Tesla EV chargers at their stations to further drive supercharger expansion, and it will help them to maintain a huge competitive advantage there. No longer is it only their cars charging within their ecosystem. That advantage will likely still be there, with Tesla's having access to more superchargers than these other EVs, but it definitely isn't as pronounced as before. I personally switch between a Tesla Model Y and a Rivian R1T, and the charging experience is wildly different between the two. to, especially when road tripping, so I'm very excited to hear this news. Tesla sums up their charger well in a blog post, saying, "With more than a decade of use and 20 million EV charging miles to its name, the Tesla charging connector is the most proven in North America, offering AC charging and up to 1 megawatt DC charging in one slim package. It has no moving parts, is half the size and twice as powerful as combined charging system (CCS) connectors." Ford and GM are now agreeing with this, and one of the main points Mary Barra and Jim Farley mentioned are the efficient design and robustness of Tesla's supercharger network. Electrek said it well in their take, adding, "This is awesome. It's a victory for the consumer. The best connector won. Now it will be a little messy for the next year or two, but it will clean up the EV charging industry in North America." It's true. For a couple years, we'll see CCS networks expanding, vehicles still made with CCS and more confusion, but simple adapters should make it fairly easy until all EVs in the US come standard with NACS. Now we are just waiting to hear if Hyundai, VW, Rivian, and Lucid make the switch, among others. I think they absolutely will, and that the competitive nature we're seeing here will require it. There won't be great charging options for some third-party EVs unless you partner with Tesla here. Elon Musk has repeatedly said over the years that we don't want Tesla superchargers to be a walled garden. We saw them act on this for the first time by opening up chargers in the US with their Magic Dock converter for CCS cars. That was exciting, but we still have only seen them open a literal handful of stations to other cars. Now we see why. They are partnering to ensure that these other companies can offer a true seamless supercharging experience in their vehicles. Those are the two automakers that are supporting NACS so far, but several charging station companies have also announced NACS support. ABB, Blink, ChargePoint, EVgo, Flow, Tritium, and Wallbox all say that they are supporting this connector. That will quickly mean that Tesla superchargers and many third-party networks will work easily with no adapter with future cars made with this plug. ChargePoint said, quote, "ChargePoint's Express 250 DC, Express Plus DC, CPF50 AC, CP6000 AC, and the award-winning HomeFlex AC all offer modular connectors for both customer preference and serviceability. ChargePoint will soon be offering a NACS connector option for all of these products with cost-effective field upgrades available for chargers that are already in service. Thanks to this approach, existing customers can be confident their investment is protected." Overall, Tesla wins here. Their superior technology and head start with charging networks has won, and the industry has had to give it up to them. They'll absolutely grow that section of their business as a result. They've also won by aligning with their mission. This helps accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy and does so far beyond Tesla's own vehicles. But most of all, the EV industry and consumers win here. Electric vehicles are being made with a better charger, and we aren't going to see massive expansion of unreliable chargers that nobody actually wants to use. Quote, "NACS is the most common charging standard in North America. NACS vehicles outnumber CCS 2 to 1, and Tesla's supercharging network has 60% more NACS ports than all these CCS-equipped networks combined." Now that other brands are adopting this right before true scaling, this lead will continue to grow, and it looks like we're going to see CCS disappear in the US. Many are comparing this to USB-C. My only concern at this point is how other EVs with charge ports in various locations will be able to reach superchargers or not take up two stalls by pulling in a different direction than superchargers were designed for. What are your thoughts though? Are you excited to see GM adopting Tesla's connector? Leave a comment below to let me know your thoughts. Next up today, in a similar vein, Tesla may be planning to license their autopilot and FSD software to other companies. We recently reported that GM's CEO admitted to Tesla being in the lead when it comes to producing both affordable and profitable EVs. In response to that article, Elon himself said Tesla aspires to be as helpful as possible to other car companies. "We made all our patents freely available several years ago. Now we are enabling other companies to use our supercharger network." There, he's referencing the deal Tesla made recently with Ford and, of course, now with GM. They'll be opening their superchargers to both companies, and both are planning to adopt Tesla's connector to eliminate the need for an adapter. Elon goes on to say that Tesla is also happy to license autopilot/FSD or other Tesla technology. This could definitely be seen as part of Tesla's mission, because their mission would include helping other automakers to produce vehicles and make them compelling, even at Tesla's own disadvantage. That said, it might not be a disadvantage for Tesla if these licenses for FSD come at a cost. It might actually become another stream of revenue for them. Tesla has made a lot of promises with their FSD technology and has a lot yet to deliver, but they are further along than most with their AI advances in that space. They've also been able to achieve this technology with fairly low-cost hardware, and that's a big reason others may be interested in licensing it. Long-term as well, if FSD truly brings safety improvements, it will be a no-brainer for other vehicle manufacturers. In that future scenario, Tesla would be shipping the safest cars, and licensing that software could ensure your car is just as safe. The question then would be, if Tesla is opening up their charging network and licensing their self-driving tech, why would anybody still buy a Tesla? Well, Tesla's history of making their intellectual property public hasn't been a problem for the company yet. In 2014, Elon made a blog post called "All Our Patent Are Belong to You." In that post, he details that they are opening up their patents to anyone who wants to use them, and he concludes it by saying, "Technology leadership is not defined by patents, which history has repeatedly shown to be small protection indeed against a determined competitor, but rather by the ability of a company to attract and motivate the world's most talented engineers." Tesla really appears to be holding true to this, and I'm curious to see how this develops in the future. So far, Tesla has done just fine sharing technologies with others. We'll see what happens with FSD and charging. Next up today, we have some new updates for the Project Highland Model 3. We've seen many leaks of this car and are fully expecting it to come in the near future, with specific design changes to the exterior and interior. Most of these changes have been all but confirmed, including a steering wheel that gets rid of stalks. However, new leaks are showing that this car will add a few welcomed upgrades to the interior. First is ventilated seats, something many other cars have in Tesla's price range, ambient lighting, and an upgraded sound system. At this point, the Model 3 is actually Tesla's oldest car in terms of design. They still have a lot of the core elements from when this car launched 6 years ago. Since then, the Model Y came out, and they refreshed the Model S and X, so this upgrade is expected to bring pretty big changes for that car in terms of manufacturing. It should be updated to be cheaper for Tesla to manufacture and bring things consumers definitely want in this car. This video shows the ventilated seats for the Model 3. They're clearly not Model S or X seats, and then underneath, they have the Tesla logo. Here are current Model S and X ventilated seats compared with the leaked ventilated seats. They have a different pattern, and these leaked seats look exactly the same as current Model 3 seats until you look a bit closer and notice the ventilation. When asked when this will come on the Model Y, Kelvin Yang on Twitter said next year. So right now we're expecting to see the Project Highland Model 3 come with new upgrades, and then for Tesla to change the Model Y with Project Juniper. I'm curious to see how that works with customers potentially waiting for these upgrades that Tesla will eventually clearly change on the Model Y once we see them released on the Model 3. Next up today, the latest Cybertruck updates. With this truck entering production soon, we're seeing a lot of exciting steps towards production. A recent drone flyover has revealed several rear megacasts at Giga Texas. The machine to build the machine, a 9,000-ton gigapress built by Idra, started arriving at Giga Texas last year, and now we're seeing what it can do. We first saw this giant single-piece cast in December in a leaked photo from Kim Java. At the time, the Cybertruck's production line was in tooling. Now, Joe Tegmeyer has spotted dozens of these casts piling up at the north end of the grounds. These are completely different than the Model Y casts we've seen, but they look pretty similar as the casting we saw in December. That could signify that we're getting very close to actual Cybertruck production. Tesla has also informed suppliers that they're planning to produce 375,000 Cybertrucks per year and have release candidates that'll be ready by late August. The last deadline we heard concerning deliveries was around the end of Q3, and Elon has said before that volume production could be between 250 and 500,000. So 375,000 is definitely a strong start. Then release candidates being produced in August should mean that deadlines for first deliveries in Q3 are a solid expectation. That's the last step that Tesla has to take before officially entering production, so we're looking out for the official delivery event to be announced very soon. That'll likely just be for Tesla employees and insiders as it was for the Model Y, but it should be an exciting and informative event. Hopefully I'll get to check it out. Next up today, Tesla has unveiled a very interesting new retail store concept in China. It's called a Tesla Giga Laboratory, and they said, translated, the country's first Tesla Giga Laboratory made a stunning debut. Tesla's most beautiful store in Chengdu unveiled the mystery, an immersive experience of the magic of building a car in 45 seconds. Meet up with friends, chat, and take a break. They shared photos of the store, and it essentially gives you a little breakdown of Tesla's factories away from the factory. It can be very exciting and fascinating to see in person. I know I felt that way touring Giga Texas. However, I'm unsure who this concept is really for. Elon Musk has said for a while that Tesla's manufacturing technology and innovation will be their most important thing long term. So it appears that they're demonstrating and showing this off with these concepts. For most customers though, I assume they don't really care how the car is built, but how great it is to drive it. That's just a guess though, and it very well could work. It showcases their powertrain and drivetrain, which may specifically interest customers to see. It certainly makes for a more interesting store than the average Tesla store, so I'm curious to see this expand. What are your thoughts though? Do you think the Giga Laboratory could turn into something great? Leave a comment below to let me know your thoughts. Last up today, some updates from other automakers. Over at Ford, they have announced that for the F-150 Lightning XLT, they are reducing the wait time. Ford says they're on track to increase production to 150,000 trucks a year, and with the XLT model in highest demand, they are estimating delivery of new orders as early as September. Ford added, customer interest for XLT has considerably outstripped supply since the F-150 Lightning launch, and we've worked with our suppliers to help address that. We heard loud and clear from our customers that they want their truck deliveries as close as possible to their orders. As we scale production, we are making this possible. That's great to hear from Ford, and soon enough this vehicle should be able to charge at Tesla superchargers. Zeekr has officially entered production on their third EV that they're calling the X. Under parent company Geely, this 2-year-old automaker has already produced 100,000 of their own 2 EVs. Now, the X is their first SUV, and it starts under $30,000. Their cheapest trim will start at $26,700 US. Nonetheless, it's considered a luxury vehicle, coming with features like 5G AI, facial recognition, and an optional in-vehicle refrigerator. The company said on their social media page, the first batch of production vehicles officially rolled off the assembly line for 56 days from the launch to the assembly line, and once again refreshed the speed of Zeekr. Deliveries will first be seen in China this month, followed by Europe, and then Asian markets outside of China. At that price range, it'll definitely be in competition with a lot of EVs and the Model Y. That's all the latest Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see the latest for future battery technology, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.